What if the very thing that helped your grandparents survive is the same thing quietly keeping you broke? Let that sit for a second. What if the habits that protected your family from hunger, instability, and uncertainty are now sabotaging your ambition in a completely different world? And here's the uncomfortable question that might sting a little. What if the biggest obstacle to your wealth isn't corruption or lack of opportunity or even the economy? What if it's the way you've been trained to think? Before you argue with me, stay with me, because this isn't about blaming Africans. It's about understanding something most of us were never taught to see. Think about this. If I drop you into a jungle with lions, your brain switches into survival mode. You scan for danger, you conserve energy, you eat when food is available, because tomorrow isn't guaranteed. Now imagine trying to build generational wealth in that same mental state. You can't, and that's the tension we're going to unpack. Because Africa has some of the most hard-working people on the planet, no debate. You see it every day. People wake up at 4 a.m., hustle in the sun, work 2 jobs, send money home, grind without complaining. So why is wealth still so rare? Why do so many ambitious, intelligent young Africans feel stuck in cycles of just enough? There's a pattern here, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. Let me tell you a story. A young man in Lagos gets his first decent-paying job. It's not huge money, but it's stable. Within 3 months, he upgrades his phone, starts helping extended family, moves to a slightly better apartment, sends money to siblings' school fees, buys new clothes so he doesn't look poor. On the surface, that sounds responsible, generous, even admirable. But here's what's happening underneath. His income went up, his obligations multiplied, his savings stayed thin, his investments non-existent. And if he loses that job tomorrow, he's back in survival mode. This isn't a character flaw, it's conditioning. Most African societies were shaped by instability, colonization, political shifts, currency collapses, inflation, job insecurity, even civil conflict in some regions. When the ground beneath you isn't stable, you don't think 20 years ahead. You think about this month. You think about today. You think about not being embarrassed in front of relatives. And slowly, that becomes your default mental setting. There's a famous experiment from Stanford University in the 1970s. You've probably heard of it. Kids were given 1 marshmallow and told they could eat it now or wait and get 2 later. The kids who waited tended to do better in life long term. Now here's the part people miss. Those kids came from relatively stable environments. If your world has taught you that promises aren't reliable, that food can disappear, that tomorrow isn't guaranteed, you eat the marshmallow immediately. It's rational. And that's what survival mindset is. It's rational behavior in an unstable environment. But here's the twist. Africa is changing faster than our psychology. There are more digital opportunities now than at any point in history. Remote work, tech startups, global markets, content creation, e-commerce, investments accessible through your phone. The environment is shifting, but many of us are still eating the marshmallow. Spending before investing, flexing before building, choosing short-term relief for long-term leverage. Let me make it personal. Have you ever received unexpected money and felt an urge to spend it quickly, almost like keeping it feels dangerous? Have you ever thought, let me enjoy it now, who knows what tomorrow brings? That's not irresponsibility, that's survival wiring. But here's the cost. Survival mindset focuses on security, not expansion. Security says, get a safe job. Expansion says, build assets. Security says, as long as I can eat, I'm okay. Expansion says, how do I own something that pays me? And here's the uncomfortable contrast. Many immigrant communities leave Africa, land in Europe or America, struggle for years, then build wealth. Why? It's not because they suddenly become smarter. It's because the system they plug into rewards long-term thinking, stable currencies, access to credit,
clear property laws, predictable contracts. In that environment, delaying gratification makes sense. Back home, volatility trained us to prioritize immediacy. Now, here's where it gets even deeper. Survival mindset doesn't just affect money, it affects identity. If your identity is, "I must not fall," you'll rarely aim to fly. Think about conversations you've heard growing up. Don't aim too high. Be realistic. Just find something stable. Business is risky. Government job is safe. Safe, safe, safe. But safety is a moving target. Currencies devalue. Companies shut down. Policies change. Health fails. The real safety in the 21st century isn't a job. It's skills, ownership, adaptability. And yet, many young Africans are still chasing certificates like life jackets. More degrees, more qualifications, more proof, but very little asset creation. Now pause with me. Imagine two 25-year-olds. One is obsessed with not looking poor, keeps up appearances, sends money everywhere, avoids investing because it's risky. The other lives slightly below their means, learns about stocks, starts a small online business, reinvests profits, says no to some family pressure, gets judged for being stingy. 10 years later, who has options? This is where things get uncomfortable, because breaking survival mindset often looks selfish in the beginning. You might say no more often. You might not upgrade your lifestyle immediately. You might invest instead of celebrate. And people won't always understand. But let me tell you something powerful. Survival mindset asks, what if it fails? Growth mindset asks, what if it works? That one question can alter your trajectory. Now, let's talk about something subtle. Entertainment. Look at what dominates conversations, football debates, celebrity gossip, politics outrage, weekend enjoyment. None of those are bad, but if most of your mental energy goes into distraction, you stay mentally in the present. Wealth requires future orientation, planning, studying markets, learning how money moves globally, understanding compounding. That's not flashy, it's quiet. And survival mindset hates patient acuity. It wants stimulation, immediate reward. That's why buy now, pay later schemes explode in unstable economies. They offer immediate relief, but they chain future income. Let me ask you something real. If you kept living exactly as you are right now, financially and mentally, where would you be in 10 years? Don't answer quickly. Sit with it. If the answer scares you even a little, that's awareness waking up. The truth is, Africa doesn't lack talent. It lacks widespread long-term strategy. And that's changing, slowly, through tech hubs, through ambitious creators, through founders building globally. You're part of that shift, but only if you consciously reject inherited limitations. Survival got us here, but it won't get us there. And here's the hopeful part. Mindsets can be reprogrammed. You can train yourself to delay gratification, to invest consistently, to tolerate calculated risk, to say no without guilt, to prioritize asset ownership over appearance. It starts small. Automate investments before spending. Learn one high-income digital skill deeply. Track net worth, not just salary. Build something you own, even if tiny. Tiny ownership beats large dependency. And remember this, the goal isn't to shame where we come from. Survival mindset was brilliant. It kept families alive through chaos. But we're in a new era now. Digital borders are thin. Capital flows globally. A laptop in Accra can serve clients in Toronto. A creator in Nairobi can build an audience in London. The opportunity landscape has expanded. If your psychology doesn't expand with it, you'll miss it. So here's the real question. Will you stay in a mental mode designed for scarcity, or will you upgrade to one designed for scale? Because the next decade in Africa will create a new class of wealthy builders. Not lucky, not corrupt, strategic. The difference between those who rise and those who remain won't be intelligence, it will be time horizon. If this made you uncomfortable, good. Growth usually starts there. And if you're serious about escaping survival mode and building real leverage, stay close to conversations like this. Surround yourself with people who think in decades, not weekends. That's how identities shift. That's how cycles break. And maybe, just maybe, you become the ancestor your future bloodline thanks.